Federalists got beat pretty badly in both. This will be much closer. Madison's going to win the election. He'll get 128 electoral votes, but Clinton will get 89, which is much, much closer than we saw in the previous two elections. What else is being decided upon in this election besides the presidency? Congress. We just had midterm elections now. Midterm elections mean that there's no presidential election, but they're congressional elections. This was like, I heard on the news yesterday, the highest voter turnout in American history for midterm elections, like 70% nationwide, and the record was 60-some%. So this was a very well-attended midterm. Normally you don't have that kind of turnout, but this is not a midterm election here. In the election of 1812, you're electing a president and Congress. Well, many of those Republican seats in Congress went to who? Federalists in this election. So this was an interesting election, 1812. Although the Republicans win the election, it's much, much closer than it's been in the past. However, many Republican seats in Congress were taken over by Federalists. What's that tell you, Ray Lynn? What's that tell you about the feeling of the country? Why? What does it clearly show that many Americans what by the way they voted in this election? What? They want to or don't want to go to war? No. They don't want to because Federalists are, it was a close election and Federalists opposed war, right? Close election for the presidency and many Republican seats were taken by the Federalists. This election clearly showed the United States that many, many Americans opposed an upcoming war with Great Britain. Without doubt. So, do we get to a war or not? That'll take us to President Madison's ultimatum to the British. You know what an ultimatum is? We've talked about that, right? Do this or else. No negotiation. We've already tried the diplomatic approach. It didn't work with Great Britain. No. So now Madison's going to give them an ultimatum because the diplomacy route did not work. So President Madison's ultimatum to the British. What would be the ultimatum he would give? It's pretty simple when you think about it. Do this or we're going to do this. What does he want Britain to do? Open the seas. Very good. Suspend the orders in council and open up freedom of the seas, or the United States will declare war. Very good. So shortly after taking the oath of office for his second term, President Madison gives Great Britain an ultimatum. You either repeal or suspend the orders in council and allow freedom of the seas, or the United States of America will declare war. So the British were to leave American shipping alone or be prepared for a declaration of war by the United States. Well, what do you think Britain does? What does British Parliament does? Surprisingly, they suspend the orders in council on June, write this down, June 16, 1812. So as a result of Madison's ultimatum, the British Parliament does suspend the orders in council on June 16, 1812. On June 18th of 1812, the United States of America declares war on Great Britain. On June 18th of 1812, the United States of America declares war on Great Britain. So again, as a result of President Madison's ultimatum, the British Parliament suspend the orders in council on June 16th, 1812. On June 18th of 1812, the United States declares war on Great Britain. Why? Did they meet our ultimatum? Why did we declare war on them?
Didn't like it.
Huh?
Didn't like it.
Well, that's true. What? No?
To get our prisoners and ships back.
What's that?
To get our prisoners and ships back.
No? Pretty simple. Well, maybe, but
No communication or like.
no. Yeah, they didn't pick up the cell phone and call up and say.
No, but it.
No, you're right.
It takes long.
Absolutely.
Time
No
to get
transatlantic cable takes some time. We didn't have the patience to wait to see if they accepted our ultimatum. You're exactly right. They didn't get on the cell phone and say, hey, guess what? Yeah, you're right. We suspend orders in council, right? We just didn't wait. And as a result of that, we declared war. Now, some of you said because we wanted to, we didn't like them. You might be right. We'll see. Now, what do you think the Federalists thought about this declaration of war? They were so mad about it, they wouldn't even refer to the War of 1812 as the War of 1812. They called it Mr. Madison's War. So the Federalists were so upset about this declaration of war, they didn't think we were very patient. We weren't. So they wouldn't even refer to the War of 1812 as the War of 1812. They called it Mr. Madison's War. Now, there were really 4 reasons why we declared war on Great Britain. I'm not sure what history says, but we certainly weren't very patient. So my thought process is Madison maybe kind of wanted to, right? And here's 4 reasons why we would declare war on Great Britain. Why would we? Well, the obvious one is and we didn't get word back, they were doing what? Violating our what was it? Freedom of the seas. So the first reason why we declared war on Great Britain was Britain's continual violation of freedom of the seas. Why else that goes along with that did we declare war? How many American sailors did they impress and still have serving in the Royal Navy? 7,000. So the second reason we declared war is there were still 7,000 American sailors forced to serve in the British Navy. Why else might we? Why else might we? Hey. Why else might we declare war on them? American national pride. American national pride. We're tired of these British continuing to cause us trouble. American national pride. And then there's always a carrot. What else might we have wanted if we win? Not money. What? Land. America's hunger for land. There was some land we wanted. So reasons we declared war: violation of freedom of the seas by the British, the impressment of 7,000 American sailors, American national pride, and America's hunger for land. There were some areas we wanted. Now, ironically, these land areas we wanted were owned by Spain. Okay, and let me tell you what we wanted. We wanted this land of Spanish Florida. Spanish Florida. Now, listen to me. Remember I told you that Robert R. Livingston went and tried to negotiate the purchase of New Orleans? And then he said, well, gee whiz, what do you give us for all of Louisiana? Remember when they paid $15 million? But they also wanted this too, didn't they? Well, we didn't get that in Louisiana, the Louisiana purchase. We just got Louisiana. Remember they wanted western Florida and the area around the Gulf? We didn't get that. And now it belongs to Spain, and we still want it. Okay, we still want it. So that was one of the land areas that we wanted, was Spanish Florida around the Gulf of Mexico. Also, this part of Alabama right here, the southern part of Alabama, was really not part of the Union, and we wanted that also. It belonged to Spain. So this area right here belonged to Spain, and we wanted it. So we wanted western Florida, and we wanted the southern part of Alabama, present-day Alabama. Okay? And we wanted some land in Canada, in southern Canada. It was very wooded land, had good forest, and we wanted that as well. Okay? So, the 3 areas of Spanish-controlled land that we wanted was Spanish Florida around the Gulf of Mexico, present-day southern Alabama, and the rich wooded land of southern Canada. Now, why in the world would we go to war with Great Britain?
Allies?
What's that?
Are they allies with Spain?
Who's they?
Great Britain?
Yes. Spain had been an ally of Great Britain ever since Napoleon took over France and invaded Spain. Okay? Where did Napoleon get the Louisiana territory? from Spain by virtue of him invading them during this war. That's why he was able to sell it. So, if the United States defeats Great Britain in the War of 1812, who else would they be defeating in essence? Spain, and we would get that lovely Spanish land that we want. So, here, that's where we're going to end. Now, basically, here's what's going to happen. The next test material will be the War of 1812, okay? So we will take a 75-point quiz on this material on Tuesday. And we will have our little duel on Monday, and then we'll come back in the classroom, depending on how it turns out, maybe. And we will give you a short review of what you need for short answer questions. The rest is your responsibility concerning true and false.